the side of TME. Now, what did these bands signify? Tell you, what are they speaking to you? Look into your foresight ball and tell me, Husky, I want to know.
Again, junglers, support, and top laners ban out. Gigabyte Marines definitely have done their homework. Now, as much as people don't pick Sion often, he is a good initiator if you think about it. And of course, Zac, not much to be said, one of the main junglers right now, and Rakan with all those utility that pairs well with Kalista and Xayah. You don't really want him to be the one that starts a fight. But of course, the Manila Eagles, they have their own strategy. Banning out that Elise, and Levi is an aggressive jungler, so taking out Elise means that he has to fall back on to other junglers, but of course choices are still open. Galio, Optimus has performed much, hasn't shown us much on Galio, but Galio being a champion on its own is already really impactful. And Rek'Sai, to put it simple, Rek'Sai tries well in the early stages.
Here we are, Gigabyte Marines showing their hand. Kalista being picked out on the first rotation into the Xayah and Cups for the favor of TME, while Gigabyte Marines responds with two more bans. Levi with the jungle J4 or the top lane J4 going into the mid side support. Optimus with that pickup of Morgana in for Archie. Now, Norway would like to actually use that Kalista ultimate with Fate's Call, couple it with that pickup of Morgana. That could be a very interesting thing coming in.
Now, picking up Morgana means that you have zone control. That Dark Binding has a 2-second route on level 1, which is super crazy if you think about it. Like 4-5 seasons back then, that is equivalent to the old Sion's Q, which is scary. It has a slow travel speed, but landing it means you'll just spell a lot of trouble. Now, zone control is one. Secondly, her black shield. Her black shield is very valuable. You want to gank someone, puts on a black shield, negates your spell. The explosive cast won't work, the taunt from Shen won't work, Xayah cannot root you up. So if he puts it, let's say, on the J4 or any initiator, and that initiator goes in, you can't really CC that whoever has the black shield on without popping the black shield first, and then we just burn some of your cooldowns and give it an advantage in a fight. Because going on to TME, we have to talk about the picks: Xayah, Gragas, and Shen. Of course, Gragas undoubtedly in the jungle, Shen in the top lane. Protect the ADC comp, not really surprising right now.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem like it can go any other way. Now, for the side of CME, they banned out Orianna and Syndra. For the side of Gigabyte Marines, Cassiopeia pending another ban for the second ban phase. Now, we do see a lot of mid laners, and this is definitely targeted towards Trevor, and Optimus will be looking towards getting a subpar mid laner, denying all these strong mid lane champions, and Lulu being picked out. Now, that is very interesting coming in from the side of Gigabyte Marines.
Mid laner, you have a lot of choice for mid laners. For Trevor, you have Vladimir, you have you have Corki. You can even pick up Lucian, but I doubt that they will pick up Lucian. And of course, with Corki on the board, Corki will be Trevor's trump card coming into the first game. The support are so open right now. Just a Lulu and a Rakan band. You have Thresh, you have Braum, you have Blitzcrank, you have Janna, you have Nami, you have Karma. It all comes down to how TME wants to play this out, because the support hasn't been picked yet, while Gigabyte Marines definitely would be that Morgana, as they will hover over that Maokai, and Maokai will be sent into the jungle.
Yeah, and as we pan into the players now, look at that setup. It is so nice to see that kind of setup. Now, one more time, it's going to be the ancient Treon himself, the sexy 3 of Bark. Nature's Grass coming in is going to be Maokai for Gigabyte Marines, with a final pick of Kassadin for Optimus Archie. Picking out that Kassadin, it's going to be interesting. Marky might have the early advantage here, despite the fact that he's with the changes towards his passive, doing more damage magically. It might actually work towards Optimus' favor because of his passive as well, being able to take a little less with higher magic resist, he will take a little bit of less damage. But at level 6, his mobility is going to be insane, and he'll be able to close it onto Trevor.
Rotation might just be the key going into the mid game. You have Kassadin with Rift Fog, but of course Trevor will outshine Kassadin in terms of rotation because he has the package, but it will come down to how he utilizes it, because if Optimus pushes the lane in, Trevor would have less room to breathe and rotate. And as we were talking about, that Jenna will be the final pick for the Manila Eagles. Both teams with the competition locked in, is definitely evident that Gigabyte Marines have a lot of eggs in Noah's basket.
Now, with the Janna last pickup for the side of TME, I am interested to see how this engage is going to favor Levi and Navarre.
Maraming hindi naniniwala nung una, pero naipakita naman namin na may ibubuga kami. Hindi namin malalaman kung hindi namin susubukan. Bukas magsisimula pa lang ang laban namin.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We're here right now watching the Garena Premier League Summer 2017 knockout stage. And of course, this is the first match is going to be between the Philippines Team Manila Eagles versus Vietnam's champion Gigabyte Marines. Will be your casters for the first game. I'm Atlas. With me is Arctic.
Finally determine who will eventually potentially make it to Worlds, just having come up fresh from the group stage right here. Manila Eagles as well as Young Generation, they really have their work cut out for them as they go up against the two teams that were actually waiting for them, both Gigabyte Marines as well as
Ascension's Thailand's Ascension rather. Yeah, it's definitely a grueling moment for everyone involved, and I'm pretty sure all these teams have prepared, are really pumped up about this. As we load up into the game here, first game of the first match we have today, Gigabyte Marines versus Team Manila Eagles. I think this is going to be a very hyped up match, especially for those watching from the Philippines supporting Team Manila Eagles. As for Vietnam, their fans will also be backing them up, sending them energy. We'll see how all that plays out here in this first battle we have for today.
Yeah, and speaking of Team Manila Eagles, these guys are kind of the underdogs, I'd say, going into this, because a lot of people very high expectations of the Gigabyte Marines to have potentially even make it as the first seed right here. But Team Manila Eagles, they're kind of known for these instances wherein they just actually surprise you right when you least expect it. But nonetheless, JLC and Nevin actually catching each other up, but nonetheless just a little bit of a slap on each other.
A little bit of a switch up for everything we have here. We did not see Nevin in the previous GPL, so he's a new face for those who are just watching Gigabyte Marines now. So it's actually quite a surprise. And we'll see how he fares against JLC. Both of them are, while JLC does have some experience in the GPL, coming into Season 7, he is quite of a question mark coming into the international scene, so is Nevin. So we'll see how all that will fare coming into this laning phase. So far, not a lot of action. The junglers are really just going for their standard routes here.
I mean, what's interesting here, not only are we finding Nevin here in the top lane, but Archie as well, who was actually the top laner in the previous GPL, and even during Rift Rivals, if I'm not mistaken, we'll now be seeing him towards the support role, so we'll just have to see how that dynamic works.
Right on the other side of the map.
Yeah, I mean, with Noe particularly, who has been, I'd say, one of the more consistent players in the GPL, even when he was on Ascension Gaming.
So we'll be seeing, lots of switch-ups here, lots of new faces as well. We'll be seeing how Levy actually makes some action here in the top lane. Might just go for some scouting or trying to find some resources to steal away from Koops, and that is one of Koops' weaknesses. If you are aggressive against him, if you steal his resources, then you will starve him out, because he's always looking to gank for his lanes, and that leaves his camps, jungle camps, very vulnerable.
Speaking of jungle camps here, pay particular attention to the itemization for most of the laners here. Across the board, we're seeing Doran shields being built up, so for that extra precaution, because again, this is the make or break it, but at the same time, strategically speaking, for both teams, they are known for going really, really hard, depending on how they pick up the speed in the dirt.
For now, it seems like they will want to slow down in the early game, and that is quite understandable. You have a Janna on your support role, you have two AD carries, you have a Shen, you really want to draw out the laning phase. just get that farm up and allow the top laner, which is JLC, to pressure you once he reaches level 6 or even before that with a teleport.
This is actually very tricky right now for Rox because of the nature of the bot lane coming in from the Gigabyte Marines. And with Janna building up on the Ancient Coin first, it's a little bit trickier for her to collect upon those coins.
Yeah.
Because of how aggressive and how scary it might be if ever a Dark Binding does hit, wherein he could just receive a full onslaught of damage coming in from both Noe and Archie here. So this might actually slow down Rox's build up towards getting the Ardent Sensor, and how that'll affect Marky in the laning phase, we'll just have to see.
Yeah, but Marky has really shown himself to be a very consistent laner on that Xayah, so we'll see. I think he will be able to survive this, but right now he is being bullied into his turret by Noe and Archie. A full 2 waves being the lead here for Noe, so already a lead being built up for this Gigabyte Marines bot lane, and that is not something that Team Manila Eagles wants, no matter who their opponent is Marky getting behind in the laning phase, because they usually want to be the ones dominating and being aggressive, but here Marky is the submissive one.
Indeed, and overall, if you're going to look at it, this is just going to set Marky and Rox quite behind. I mean, again, for Rox, it's the Ancient Coin collection, not really being that feasible because of being zoned out by the Morgana, as well as Marky, like you did mention. Waves.
Oh, okay, that's just Coops making some money there on the Gromp, but that is quite troubling. I don't know, like having to use the Blast Cone, no, not having to use, just using the Blast Cone then there, it's quite a huge waste of resources for Coops there. Even if you say, oh, he has a body slam, you can just body slam over the wall. That's already one mobility tool lost from the jungle. Like if ever trouble happens there in the bot lane, Coops for the next few minutes no longer has the option of getting the Blast Cone and then body slamming.
Exactly. Every single point of resource counts here, whether it be in terms of abilities or even your items. So
yeah,
we'll just have to see if that actually hurts Coops going into potential ganks towards the bot side until such time that Blasting Cone does come in.
Seems like Coops trying to pressure this mid lane. Not really looking to kill or gank Optimus, but just give Trevor a good back timer. Pushing in, shoving in the wave, because right now he doesn't really have a lot of options to gank. It might be too dangerous to gank the bot lane, and as soon as Optimus reaches, goes back to lane, gets a few little bit of minion farm there, he will reach level 6, which will make him almost impossible to gank as for top lane. That's just full-on tanky combat right there. And 2 tanks versus another tank, that is going to take forever. So right now, Coops, all he really wants is a little bit of pressure for his laners and get his farm out.
Overall, though, I really like the direction that Levy is going for as far as the itemization pack. Actually going for directly to the Tiamat in his first build, which actually does grant him a faster clear in the jungles whenever forming those multiple camps such as the Raptors. But not only that, but let's say if ever we're to see a little bit more siege power, then that's another thing that the Tiamat could help him excel as well. That will be the taunt entry doesn't though, but will be backing away. Does get chunked to half of his health, but will be healing that up quite easily because of
Optimus is quite far ahead here.
And yes, will get knocked up though, but looking like will he be able to run from this? Actually, there's another dive here happening as First Blood is taken by Levy for the Gigabyte Marines. Optimus will be able to survive yet another day though.
Yeah, much more feasible to actually gank the top lane when it's pushed up that far. And even though I said it might be too dangerous to gank top lane because it might take too long to kill Nevin, the fact is, because they've used a level 6 fight, and Levy, of course, with the Tiamat, has a much faster clear. He should have expected that JLC might have needed some help, and here comes the help that he needs.
Taunt actually connects onto Nevin, though, as they continue to... Nevin doesn't have any mana. Levy as well might be in a bit of trouble, but no manages to escape.
Not enough damage from both of these tanks. What Coops should have done is expected the dive onto his top laner, because the way Nevin was playing it, as he was playing it so aggressively and positioning himself in such a way that Levy could just dive with him, and that was a very real possibility, a real risk, and that it did manifest. And Coops instead chose to gank the mid lane, and even though Optimus is super pushed up, you're talking about a Kassadin here, and he can escape ganks so easily. Here he does get a little bit of consolation by going through a little bit of damage on the top lane turret, but still, that's a lot of gold given to the top lane and to Levy.
Indeed, but looking towards the bot side here again, It's interesting because both Marky and Noe just focusing on the farm games here right now. Not even a single recall from either side just yet.
That might be dangerous because Levy now has the ultimate. And Optimus is stealing away even more resources along with Levy from Kup. So that's putting Kups at such a disadvantage here. And he will have to take the blue buff on the opposite side of the map. But it doesn't seem like Gigabyte Marines is making a move on any big objective here in exchange for that blue buff that Kups is taking on the other side. Because they don't really have vision on Kups right now. That's one good thing for Team Manila Eagles. But if he was spotted out by a ward there, that would have been a Mountain Drake or a bot lane dive for Gigabyte Marines.
Indeed, but regardless, looks like still it'll be both sides here. Just kind of a little bit of a trade-off of buffs, but I'd say what's interesting here is that it was a little bit more smarter here play, but it looks like Trevor and Optimus will be trading a little bit. Optimus is going to be going in, but Trevor going to use Valkyrie for the safety.
Not even just the Valkyrie, that's the entire package used defensively. So TME already on the back foot here. Optimus might go for Kups.
Indeed, Kups though very, very low here. With JLC though, going to be backing him up just in case that pursuit does push
Look at
through.
that. Pushing Kups away, stealing even more resources. And the thing here is that the blue buff went onto Optimus while Trevor is left still starving, thirsting for some blue water there. But then that just means that right now Levy is in full control of the jungle because the rest of his lanes are ahead. That means Nevin and Optimus can respond to any invade that he does. And Kups is just left starving here, even if Trevor and Optimus are sort of even in the mid lane with Optimus with quite a sizable CS lead. The thing is that right now, Corki does not put out the same amount of damage and response pressure that a Kassadin can actually put out. So that means Kups right now is a level behind Levy, and actually Levy, I believe, stole that big Krug there. So that's even more resources that are just left away. This fat Gragas really going on a diet here.
And I feel like this is one of the disadvantages right now, wherein it plays beautifully for the Gigabyte Marines, but goes the opposite way for Team Manila Eagles in the sense that Levy, another one of those junglers, which is probably pegged as potentially and arguably one of the best junglers in Southeast Asia. When you put him up against Kups, wherein there's a very clear strategy wherein once you start starving Kups, that's where he really starts falling behind.
Yeah.
This is what's happening right now. Very classic Gigabyte Marines just exploiting Team Manila Eagles' weakness in the form of their jungler.
Yeah, that and because Kups is by no means a weak jungler. But if you look at the economy of junglers in Southeast Asia, you have such aggressive junglers. You have Caspiel, you have Levy, even have James. But here, Kups is a different kind of strain of breed of jungler. And I think it's not really working in his favor. Top lane gank for TME, however.
Yes, here we go. The teleport actually going to be popped out by Optimus as JLC and Kup are forced to flee. I'm not really sure about JLC here as to whether or not he'll be surviving. Kup trying to back up, but no, gets a knock-up onto both Optimus and Evan as Trevor backs them up. I'm not sure if they'll be able to survive this though for Kups, especially. We'll be backing away now for safety, but Trevor continuing the poke, but no particular deaths though, as that'll be yet another victory for the Gigabyte.
As for the bot lane,
that's going to be the dark binding, connecting on to Rocks. Actually
missing.
manages to survive with a slither of health as Marky continues the auto attacks. Noe forced to flash away, but Marky in exchange gets blinded.
man, it feels like, ooh, Levy was right around the corner, so it might have been dangerous to actually commit to that. Levy has the ultimate. He can just go EQ onto Marky, but chooses not to. Just gonna wait around the wings here. But it does mean that TME down their bot lane is under danger. Oh man, that is gonna be Rocks under attack. Actually being taken down by Levy. Now Marky is the one next.
Binding actually connecting, and that'll be another death onto the side of Team Manila Eagles. Man, that's just happening back and forth. It's not a single trade coming in from Team Manila Eagles.
And the thing here is, I think the TME's response time is too slow. You saw that in the top lane fight. Koops and JLC already were on the losing end, and when Trevor started channeling the teleport, it was too far and too late. At that point, one of their members had already died, and by the time he arrived, it was just free for Levy and Optimus, rather Nevin and Optimus to escape. And for this bot lane fight, he could have just channeled his ultimate onto Rocks as soon as its trouble started coming. Maybe the cooldown just came off, but he could have just used his teleport to help immensely in that fight.
And again, Team Manila Eagles just slowly getting choked out here by the Marines. Looking at the CS difference across the board, with the exception, not even actually Trevor anymore. Everybody is up on CS, especially for top and bot, with a substantial difference.
And that really is the cost of being a second or two too late, and not even. The responses coming from Trevor and JLC so far have been around 3 to 4 seconds late. And that is actually a huge amount of time in League of Legends. So they have to mind their timings for their responses the next time a fight happens somewhere in the map. And they have to ward in such places where if they make those teleport plays, they can actually do something and just have a lot of vision against Levy to prevent him from just ganking so strongly, which he has done consistently so far.
And at the end of the day, if we're going to look at this, most of the focus and attempts at trying to get ganks on was actually towards top lane. So this is actually very tricky because you're not really going up. You're trying to take down a very tanky champion here, which kind of takes a little bit more time considering this is a Shen and a Gragas already. But nonetheless, looks like we will be seeing the lane swap now, and Team Manila Eagles going to be responding to that by doing the same exactly.
Seems like both top lane turrets are quite low, but the thing is, because Noe and Archie have a lead over the opposing bot lane on Team Manila Eagles, that means they're the ones still pushing in towards that.
Oh man, Trevor actually will be going down in this as Nevin actually gets the kill there, but still nonetheless Nature's Grasp for that extra seal.
The Twisted Advance really
good chase actually happening here. Rock's taking a lot of damage, actually goes down to Noe, but that is going to be the double kill.
That is just tragic for Team Manila Eagles. A 7,000 gold deficit at 15 minutes. And that is because of the pressure, not just by Levy, but the rest of the lanes. What Noe and Archie have been doing are they're constantly putting Marky and Rock in a defensive position, not letting them do what they usually want to do. And because of this, Archie now has the lead in itemization towards the Ardent Center. So future fights, Marky will just lose them even harder without Cooks' assistance. That will just be more double kills for Noe, because the second that the Black Shield goes onto Noe, not only is he resistant to CC, he now has more attack speed.
Looking at the time right now, 15 minutes into this game with a 7,000 gold deficit. Actually going to be diving into Trevor once again. Goes down to the Cataclysm as Levy gets the kill.
Once again, Levy so aggressively, and Coops faltering against this pressure from this super aggressive jungler at this point. What Coops usually does has already failed. Usually he wants to make early leads for his laners, but now everything is just under control by Gigabyte Marines. GLC trying to go for a 1v2 to defend the turret. Gets rooted. So that just leaves everything open in mid lane.
Indeed, Levy though taking quite the damage coming here from Marky. Actually gets the shutdown, but goes to Coops. But will they continue the chase though? That is the question. Optimus and Nevin going to be flaying this out, but looks like Team Manila Eagles somewhat hesitant, not really wanting to extend their boundaries there. Archie now will be joining the party, actually gets through, as Nevin now on a killing spree takes down Coops. JLC trying to balance things out here for the team.
No, he's coming from behind.
Oh man, this is going to be tricky indeed. Noe dealing a lot of damage here. Marky and Rock's caught in a very tight place here. Trevor and Rock's forced to back away, but Optimus actually going to be going in onto Rock. Gets the double kill, and it's only going to be Trevor remaining, but no goes down, as that is going to be the ace for the Gigabyte Marines.
Once again, another double kill onto Noe. Kills across the board for Gigabyte Marines, and that was all very nicely set up by Gigabyte Marines. They pressured the mid lane, and they dove, and that actually pulled 4 members of TME into the mid lane, leaving top lane vulnerable. That means that Noe had a little bit of time to push the top lane, which caused Trevor to try and respond to the top lane. And by the time that Trevor was already going to top lane, alright, here comes JLC trying to go for something against Noe.
Actually trying to go on to Noe, but looks like he'll be finding himself in a reverse position as he is forced to back away from the Marines. Actually continuing the chase here. Teleport coming in from Trevor. Will they be able to get a kill though? That is the question. Levy actually going to be going in, gets the Cataclysm, manages to take down JLC. Looks like Gigabyte Marines going to be going for the reverse here. Coops goes down, double kill for Levy as Trevor and Rox are forced to back away.
TME trying way too hard to reach forward to take everything back from Gigabyte Marines, and it backfires in their faces. Another double kill to Gigabyte Marines, and as I was explaining earlier, all that was well set up by Gigabyte Marines, because by the time Trevor responded to mid lane, Noe had the initiative because he was closer to the fight. So once all that happened, they get mid lane priority, they get top lane priority after that, and TME, a little too headstrong, trying to take some revenge, gives Gigabyte Marines even more resources, resulting in over a 10,000 gold lead at 18 minutes. That is a 13,000 gold lead, folks, for Gigabyte Marines.
Ultimately, Team Manila Eagles starting to realize that the situation is quite dire for them right now. Having Gigabyte Marines establish such a huge lead as we're not even 20 minutes into the game. So they're trying to force these desperate plays in a way, which are very super high risk, but in a way very low reward in a sense. Because sure, even if they're able to get off kills, they still have a substantial way to go to even get back on equal ground here. That you could almost say that it's pretty much Gigabyte Marines that may take this game one quite easily.
And there are some compositions that can pull that off. Pull off that steadfast, aggressive revenge play after losing a fight. But this is not one of them. TME has a composition with 280 carries, has a Shen, a tank, and Jana. So your main damage dealers have not even reached their spike yet. Only now has Trevor finished his Triforce. Only now has Marty started building into a second big item. Not even yet. Just has the Zerg Screams and the Essence Reaver. So right now, they're in no position to fight. Absolutely not. What they have to do is slow the game down. They have all the tools to do so. They have Jana, they have Shen, they have Disengage all across the board. They have to use it, they have to chill.
Ultimately, I have to agree with you right there, because at the end of the day, what we've been seeing mostly is attempted engages almost forced coming in from Team Manila Eagles
Trevor
here.
deals no damage right now.
Exactly, and looks like they'll be going in once again. Gonna go for that attempt right there. Manages to get the taunt onto Noe. Doesn't take him down just yet. JLC now on his case, but still he'll be going down. That's gonna be a 1-for-1 thus far as both Archie and JLC go down. That's gonna be the initiate though. Cataclysm.
Trevor.
Actually, Trevor getting the shutdown, but in exchange, Levy will get rocks. Trevor trying to run this out here, but will be going down to Nevin as only 2 members of Team Manila Eagles remain. That is gonna be a 2-for-3 once again in favor of the Gigabyte Marines.
Shutdown goes to Trevor, which is great for him, for Team Manila Eagles. But looking at the bigger picture, you are giving Gigabyte Marines a lead in turrets, possibly the inhibitor. And that's what I'm talking about. Team Manila Eagles, they should be fighting. But here they go again. They charge in onto Gigabyte Marines, thinking that they can take a kill. They did. They picked 2 kills. But that gave Gigabyte Marines an inhibitor. That's definitely not worth it. And Gigabyte Marines playing this very, very well. They know the TME cannot fight, so they always position themselves in ways where they can.
And what's unfortunate here is that if you're going to look at the overall picture here, for most of the instances, it's actually Team Manila Eagles that set the tone wherein they fall to their demise. It's not really much of Gigabyte Marines getting the initiate on themselves. It's Team Manila Eagles being a little bit too proactive, when technically this isn't really one of the moments they want to do so when they're so behind.
Definitely not. And yeah, Gigabyte Marines, they just keep going for the turrets. And this is where TME gets impatient, and then they attack, giving Gigabyte Marines a little bit of a lead and the priority to get a turret. And here they go. They're summoning the Rift Herald around the map here. It seems like it will be a very, very strong Rift Herald if TME cannot actually get to it.
And it's just so unfortunate for Team Optimus actually goes in to the Dragon Pit though, but they decide to refocus onto Archie, as Archie gonna be backing away, but Team Manila Eagles have to be a little bit more careful here as Optimus actually...
Yeah, look at Noe. They're already doing Baron while TME was baited into trying to kill, and they did, the most tanky break in the game, and now Cooks tries to go for a steal. Gets rooted by Spaghetti Cats, but it seems like here the payoff once again is not worth it. As
Optimus though now within the vicinity will be taking down Cooks, as he's now once again on a killing spree though. Archie trying to be back up, but that's not even necessary. Double kill once again going to Optimus.
Oh man, and look at that. Rift Herald actually successfully reaches the turret here. Will instantly get taken down, but not before dealing tremendous amount of damage onto the turret, allowing Optimus possibly to finish it off. But look at Levy there in the mid lane. No way in the top lane. This is just TME fighting a war on 3 fronts. Every single side is faltering. And now just their turrets, their inhibitors are being demolished one by one, like nails on a coffin. And hammer down.
For JLC, that if you saw the damage that Optimus was exerting on what is supposedly one of the tankiest members for TME to frontline actually can't even withstand all that damage coming in from the Gigabyte
and that's
Marines.
because he hasn't itemized anything defensively against Optimus. He has health, he has a little bit of armor and auto attack reduction, and he has some health, but all that just gets shredded by Optimus.
This is just ultimately a game where Team Manila Eagles really have to rethink their game plans here, because game one, it's pretty safe to say that this is ultimately going to be going to the Gigabyte Marines.
Yeah, I cannot see an opportunity for TME to actually win for this first game. I hate to say it, but I have to. But every opportunity that they had to get back in this game, they squandered it. And here it seems like Gigabyte Marines, without missing a beat, actually will take away their first victory for this match as TME tries to go for a last stand.
And
Like
there we go,
TLC,
a little bit of a fight there. Cataclysm actually managing to get rocks. Only Trevor and Marky remaining here as they are forced to back their way, but that doesn't matter. Congratulations, as game one goes to Vietnam's first seed, the Gigabyte Marines. Wow.
Definitely, that was just tragic for Team Manila Eagles, and Team Gigabyte Marines just giving us what we expect of them, what the entirety of Southeast Asia expects of them, taking away the first win for this match. And
yeah, I mean, taking that game not even on equal ground, but that was like a full stomp right there.
yeah, that was just a stomp, and I think it has to do with TME's play style here. We always say that, yes, they're very aggressive, but the way to take advantage of a team that always loves to go aggressive and can do little to actually change that gear is if you're a mechanically and macro-wise better team, you just overpower them. And them being put on the back foot on the defensive side puts them at such a disadvantage.
And ultimately, this is what we've been talking about during one of our talks prior to the Garena Premier League, wherein you can't really go into this with just focusing on what your forte is. You really have to have that flexibility to adapt to all these different teams, especially when you're up against a team like the Gigabyte Marines.
Yeah, they really need to know how to play from behind here. And because they were making such plays as if they were on equal grounds or they were ahead, when in fact they had no way to win that in a head-on fight. Even if they had the jump on the team, no way would just cut them off and destroy them. So right now you cannot bash two rocks against each other. TME needs to change up against Gigabyte Marines.
Indeed. We'll just have to see again. They still have... This is a best of 5, of course, but we'll just have to see if they can make that adaptation. But ladies and gents, that does conclude Game 1 for today. But when we come back, we'll be heading into Game 2 we'll be checking out, actually, if the Team Manila Eagles can indeed make that adjustment, or is it just going to be another clean sweep for what Southeast Asia considers the Lord and Saviors, the Gigabyte Marines. So once again, this is Arc, the Cat, your service fam. And of course, with me as Atlas, we'll be right back as we are once again in the Garena Premier League 2017 Summer Season Knockout Stage. Stay tuned.